Hi, I'm Ryan Guldemond from Mother Mother. We're here at the BB Gun Leather Shop in Strathcona, Vancouver. The very first rock festival that I attended was Lollapalooza. I think like '94. I was young. I was 10 or something. I was with my dad and my sister, and it was almost kind of like disturbing or something, and inspiring at the same time, because I was just a little kid, insecure, and you know, kind of hungry to discover what the dangerous qualities of rock and roll are, but completely intimidated by them. And it was just like, you know, a throng of like bohemia and rock festival culture, lots of, you know, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, all of which I didn't understand. So that was a very penetrating memory. And I mean, on top of that, I saw bands like Hole, and it was like shortly after Kurt Cobain died. So, you know, it's kind of an interesting time to see her express. And Sonic Youth and Beck, you know, he looked like he was 8 years old and he was singing Loser. Cypress Hill, they had these massive pipes on stage and pot plants, and they were yelling obscenities at the cops that were standing on top of the you know, the something, looking down, imposing their authority. So it was a very rich experience for a kid, and I was pretty turned on by it. I wanted more of that, so I'm pretty happy I got into it. My first Squamish memory. Yeah, I didn't grow up in Vancouver, so, you know, no like family picnics up there, not too many hikes. So I would have to like relate it to the festival itself. I don't even really remember playing all that well, but I remember like me and a gaggle of friends, we wanted to stay up there and party. So there was no parties, so we just rented a limo bus, and we just got in this thing and we just drove around in circles in Squamish, in the quietness of its, you know, residential nature, and kind of had a good time. It was silly but fun, and sort of a nonsensical way to have a party, but we did it. We persevered. My must-see for this year's Squamish, I'm going to exercise a bias because I'm biased. And Willa, who's an emerging Vancouver artist who I'm quite acquainted with. I spent a lot of time in the studio with her. We conceptualized her expression, I guess, together. I produced a record, and she's got a world-class voice, and it'll be nice for me to see her out of the studio and in that setting of humanity and the exchange between audience and performer, because I don't know her as well in that context. So I'm really excited just to be a sort of a knowing, objective bystander. My expectations for Squamish this year are just expectations on myself and the band. I think it's going to be a big crowd. We have a pretty great slot, third to last on the main stage, and there's probably going to be 20,000 to 30,000 people there. So I expect from us, the band, to kind of rise to the challenge of meeting that scale of energy and transcending anything else going on in our lives, and tapping into like a very fiery and true, authentic, big performance, because we don't want to let anybody down. And people might have heard of us, but there's probably going to be a lot of people that haven't heard us or really know about us, and so there's a lot of, you know, first handshakes to make, metaphorically speaking. And so yeah, just to rise to the occasion of an immense energy and have a equal exchange, because, you know, it's an honor to be on that stage at that time, and so we don't want to let the obligation down.